Hey guys, and welcome to today's video, and guess who's back? It's not really anything to guess, is it really? But hi guys, I'm back! It feels very, very weird to be back here, or even just to be sat like in front of a camera is strange because I haven't done it in months and it's a bit awkward and I don't really know what I need to say. But I'm glad to be back. I am in a much better headspace now than what I was, and I'm going to go into the reasons as to why I kind of had to up and leave, because I literally could not talk about them at the time, and in my head the best thing to do was to just stop doing YouTube, take a step back away from the view of everyone, I guess, and get my shit together. I honestly don't even know where to start. I think it has been around 4 months since my last video, my We Need to Talk video, and that video was needed for me. I think in the video I said I needed to take a step back. I was unhappy. My YouTube sort of thing was taking up so much time that I wasn't having any time for me, any time to just relax. It was literally going to work, coming home, editing. On the weekend I would be filming, editing, cleaning, and then Sunday I would be with Dan, so that would be like my proper day off, and then that's it. I get a few hours on a Sunday and then I get to start all over again, and it just got a bit much for me. I think because of the headspace I was in at the time, I wasn't coping with it all. I'm the type of person that needs to constantly be doing things. Right, I've got this to do, and then once I've done that I need to do this and this and this and this. That's just how I work, that's how I've always been. But because I was going through things that were kind of like outside of YouTube and things that were just in my head, I wasn't able to function with all of the things that I needed to do and all the places I need to be, please everyone that I need to please. So the best thing for me was to take a step back, take a few months, sort out my shit, and then once it was sorted, which it now is, I could come back and be refreshed and not be so grumpy or sad or like panicky or in my head. So yeah, it's been a weird few months and an eye-opener for me, I think, honestly. I don't think I've ever really taken a proper break to just focus on me and my mental health. As it is a happy time of year, I'm not going to go into too much detail as to what kind of happened with me and stuff. I think I really struggled with my mental health this year. It's not something that I've ever struggled with, or if I have, I've dealt with it on my own and not really considered it to be as big of a deal as what it probably was. In the media, mental health has been brought to light a lot this year. You know, we've got things like Mental Health Day that I didn't even know was a thing until this year, and I think there's just been a stigma that's kind of been removed from it. I love watching people's videos where, it's going to sound really like morbid, but where they talk about depression because it is so honest and raw. And for me, I feel like I can relate. So, I don't know, it's still hard for me to talk about because I struggled a lot at the time just to speak to the people closest to me. I did not say anything to my family. The only people that knew were Dan, which is my boyfriend, and I briefly touched upon it with one of my friends, but even that made me feel a little bit like embarrassed, so I sort of recoiled from that and just kept to Dan. So as I said, I'm just going to briefly touch upon it so you get an idea of where it's all come from, because it may seem to you like it's come out of the blue, but for me it's been building up and up and up and up until it got so big that I just couldn't deal with anything and had to just cut things out left, right and centre to actually focus on me. And at the time, like, I really didn't realise I was doing it, but looking back I was struggling so bad, and I think if I'd have just spoken to Dan a lot sooner, that a lot of it could have been avoided. But anyway, so I was really unhappy with work for several reasons. I had a meeting with my boss and kind of explained the reasons why I was unhappy, and I was assured that they would be dealt with. They weren't. So that kind of, I don't know, I just, for me, when something is bothering me, or if I am being very sincere with another human being and very open and quite honest and raw, and for it not to be taken seriously by someone else, or as though you are being sincere, really hits me quite hard. And this has happened to me quite a few times this year, actually, annoyingly, where I have been honest and open with people and they just don't respond how I think they should respond. And obviously people can respond however they want to, but if I am being as open and honest with you, I expect respect back. I guess not everyone acts the way I do or thinks the way that I do, but you know, for me that's just like how you should act if someone is being open and honest. Be respectful and listen and help them. I just kind of felt like I was asking for help and it got ignored, and not just that, but other things sort of really played on my mind, and it started getting me into a really bad headspace where I didn't enjoy my work, I didn't want to go, I didn't want to spend like most of my life there being unhappy. And then obviously when I get home, my head is still like all over the place, and that had probably gone on for months. And then I started looking for another job, wasn't getting anywhere with that. Normally when I've looked for another job, I've got one quite quickly, but it's also been a job that I wanted. At this point I'm more qualified than I've ever been. I'm probably more confident than I have ever been, and it was really getting to me that no one even contacted me back. I literally did everything. Where I live, there are loads and loads of industrial places, so loads of businesses, and type of stuff that I wanted to do was like accounts or payroll or officey stuff, like, you know, just like a 9 to 5, and there are so many businesses around this area, and so I emailed a load, got nothing. I CV dropped to loads and loads of companies. I was applying for jobs every day, and was literally just getting nothing back, and that I started to take personally as well, and I just couldn't understand. I was so desperate to kind of get myself out of a really crappy situation and help myself, but I wasn't getting anywhere with it, and I couldn't understand why that was, and that really got to me. So I couldn't do anything because I was trying my best and not getting anywhere, and in the meantime I still had to go to a job that I wasn't enjoying, and it really grated on me, and I don't know. I know this is a lot, and I'm sorry, I don't want to go like too into it because I'm supposed to be happy and I am happy. We'll just clear past all of that, but things got really, really bad, and I tend to, or have a habit of, Dan has told me, I didn't realise that I did this until he actually like said it, and I was like, oh no, yeah, I do that. I take on what is it, like, if other people cause me issues, I then flip it so I am the problem, when in actual fact it's not my problem. I don't even need to be concerned with it. That happened, and I started thinking like, oh, what if it's me? What if, I don't know, just start nitpicking at myself. So I'm already sad and depressed and down, and then in my head I kind of start nitpicking on me. Everything from like looks, my self-worth, like literally everything. And I just started to get quite sad, and then I took a step back from YouTube, and then I all of a sudden didn't have all of these people around me that were watching me, that cared about. I know you were still there obviously, and people still messaged me, but I really felt like I was really on my own. Like my phone didn't light up as much, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm so used to having hundreds of notifications like in a day, to then go to like every time I'd look at my phone it'd just have the time on, no notifications, was weird and really hit me. So I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I hate myself. The only way that I could explain it to, well, in fact I didn't speak to Dan about it for a long time. It's like my brain split into two, and the negative part came to the front of my brain. Like, you know when people say that they have, well, not that they say, when people have split personalities, I felt like weirdly, I know this is going to sound very weird, but this happened to me, but there was me, and then there is a negative side of my brain that I didn't associate as being me, but I also wasn't in control of it. So me took a step back, the negative bit took a step forward. I was almost like being blocked, like my happiness and my normal self was being blocked by this negativity, and I couldn't break out of it. It just, I think I downward spiraled, and it got very, very bad, to the point where I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And I hate having to say that, I guess, but that's how bad it got. And I eventually spoke to Dan about it, and we had so many really, really good talks that I think throughout all of this, if I didn't have him, I don't think I would be here. I don't, and it's, oh God, it's making me upset. Oh, okay, don't cry. So yeah, like I have so much to thank him for, like I really do, but I'm not crying. I really appreciate him. Anyway, okay, so I've basically had this big long battle with myself, and I think there are times that it was directed at Dan, who has done absolutely nothing wrong ever, and all of this negativity started to get aimed towards him, which is very, very unfair, but I also didn't realise, and I couldn't stop myself from doing it. Thankfully, he's so understanding that it didn't have too much of an effect, to the point where like we're not together and I'm no longer alive and whatever. I don't know what happened. There was one night when we were on the sofa and we were having a conversation, and I literally felt like I was insane, and I started to believe that I had gone insane, that I was crazy, I wasn't in control of my thoughts. I would constantly have negative thoughts, I couldn't sleep, when I did sleep I kept having really bad dreams, and it was like my brain had been taken over by something that wasn't me, because I'm normally like so happy and a bit ditzy and everything, and so to then have this very, very dark gloomy cloud over me that I couldn't clear, and I couldn't understand, because when I would talk about it to Dan, I wouldn't describe it as I'm being like this. It's like, this is something separate to me, like this is not me, but it's here and I can't get rid of it. And there was one night when we were on the sofas and I was talking about it, and I was trying to pinpoint where it all started, like what has been the trigger for all of this. And I worked out what it was, which I won't say, because I literally can't, because I think I'd get in trouble. It's basically a person that triggered all of it. Oh no, in fact, no, sorry, I've told this very wrong. To begin with, I was having this conversation with him and I just said, like, I feel insane. Like, I'm not. I didn't know how to describe how I was feeling or what was going on, and I just started to feel really, really embarrassed, and I just kept thinking, like, as much as I want to talk to you about it, I don't want you to think I am insane and then leave me. And so I had this kind of like inner panic of, I need you, but I can't speak to you because I'm scared that this will happen. I did kind of feel like I'd thrown all of this on him, like I'd kind of hooked him into a relationship and thrown all this shit on him, which was completely unintentional, I'm sorry. I don't know, I just started to get very panicky. I was very embarrassed about the whole thing, and that he was kind of really looking into my mind and telling me what was going on. And I don't know how, it's honestly a very weird thing to try and explain. We'd come out of the kitchen and sat on the sofa, and he was talking to me, and I just started to panic, and I went very, very hot. When I get panicky, or I don't know, I just feel very uncomfortable, I go extremely hot, like unbearable hot. I can't even remember what he was saying because I couldn't even listen. I was so in my head and panicky that I felt like he was perhaps judging me, even though he wasn't. But I felt really exposed and embarrassed about me, and I just said, can we stop? And I burst into tears. He obviously had no idea what was going on, was a bit like shocked by it, but even still came over and hugged me and stuff. And so my negative side is here. I am here. Whatever happened there did this. And I came to the, this is going to sound insane, I came to the front and the negative bit just dissolved, or, you know, went to the back. And over time it just got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till it just like diminished. And I have no idea what happened that night, but weirdly one of the best nights of my life. So I know it's already been so long-winded, I'm sorry. I did say I was going to try and keep it short, but I don't really know how else to explain it. Since that night, that switch of like, not even personalities, but I don't know, just since that side of my brain went away, I got a job interview, and it was for a much bigger company, very close to home, literally 5 minutes from my house. Yeah, much bigger company, much more money, like a good amount more money. I think it was like £4,500 extra than my old job, a year I should say. And so I was really, really wanting this job, because I was just thinking, well, if I've got this extra money, I can afford to learn to drive, I can afford to give the dogs a better life, and my life will just be a bit easier, and not be stuck in, yes, I'm earning enough to pay my bills, but I'm not earning enough to really get anywhere. So yeah, I spent hours and hours and hours prepping for this interview. Dan helped me. I always get really embarrassed when other people help me for interviews, but we went through and spent hours together going through. He would ask me questions, I'd have to answer them, and yeah, thankfully I got the job. I handed in my notice, so I had a month to work at my old place, which was a bit awkward, but I'm so glad that that is done and I've left, and I can kind of close that chapter, I guess, along with all of the negativity that came with it. I started my new job at the beginning of December 2017, and literally just broke up for Christmas yesterday, so I've been there 3 weeks. I know I've made the right decision. I'm so much happier. It was my first payday yesterday, so it wasn't a full month because I didn't start exactly at the start of the month. Honestly, I love it, like I can't wait to go back. So there I'm doing like just payroll, which sounds, I was an accounts assistant, and then it sounds like I've taken a step down to be a payroll administrator, but actually I've taken a £4,500 increase. So if you want to say it's a step down, you can, but to me it's not. So honestly, it's been a lot in terms of like training and learning things, and I haven't had a lot of time of the weekends or the evenings to really do a lot, so the house has been a bit of a mess. I'm so happy that my life has taken a complete turn. So I have this new job. I also booked and passed my driving theory test. For those of you that have been here a long time know that I have had a struggle with driving, and just being absolutely terrified of it and giving up like 2 years ago, and I finally booked, and well, I've booked my theory test about 6 times and just not gone, because I didn't feel ready. I booked it, I went, I passed, and I have had one driving lesson so far because I wanted to see how I felt being back in a manual car as opposed to learning in an automatic. And it was okay. I didn't stall. But I am looking to be starting proper lessons in the new year, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I also have a lady that comes in the day now to come and walk the dogs. So in the morning before work, I take the dogs for a walk. And then I found that when I was getting home, they would have like trashed the kitchen, they'd have like weed in their food, and I was getting home and then having to like clean. So I'd kind of left a job that I hated for the day, came home to a mess, had to clean for ages, and that was just grinding on me as well. So we met with this this dog walker, got her to come round and see how she interacted with the dogs and things, and I literally grilled her just to make sure that she was the right person to look after my babies. But yeah, she comes in when I'm at work, so she's got a key, and takes them out for a walk for half an hour and then goes, and then when I come home there's no wee, there's no poo, or if there is, they've done it on the mats. But it's normally just wee, very, very rarely. Although this has probably been the weirdest year of my life, it's all like slotting into place now right before the new year, so I'm hoping that I can start the new year afresh, and yeah, I can't wait. I feel like I've talked at you and talked at you and talked at you, but let's face it, this is like what, 4 months of me updating you. So in a nutshell, I had a mental breakdown. I hated my job. People were wankers to me. I opened up to Dan about how I was feeling and felt very vulnerable, but I'm so glad that I did. I handed in my notice. I got a new job. I got a pretty decent pay increase. I got a dog walker, so the dogs are happier and much better behaved. I cracked on with the decorating. You haven't seen yet, have you? I didn't bother filming anything for my what are they called? Moving in vlogs. Do you remember this bit of wall behind me was still plaster? That is now done. If I take you this way, we have my new bed set up. I'm not going to go any further than that because my bedside table is full of sweets. Which just goes to show how well I'm doing with dieting and things like that. And this side we have makeup and stuff, and you can't really see but my TV is on the wall, and the lovely lead is sticking out there, but yeah. Oh shit, so I've kind of like cracked on with the decorating and nearly finished the bathroom, so things are slowly coming together. In terms of YouTube then, although I am back, I guess, I'm not going into my old routine of every Friday there's going to be an upload, because I was going through old videos last night because I watched my it was kind of like a what I got for Christmas / what I got in the January sales last year. Oh no, this year. And I was so like genuinely happy in that video, and then the videos that I had been putting out before I took my break were just a bit, I think they were shit. Honestly, they were poor efforts, and I think you can really tell that something wasn't right with me mentally, and that I was just trying to meet my targets however I could, I guess. I really do think that I burnt myself out, so I'm not gonna jump into that. I'm not gonna commit to anything right now, but I am back, I guess, and I'm gonna film as and when I can and just see how that goes. See, now I've been like talking at you for ages, it doesn't feel as weird as it did when I first started, but I just want to say that like I appreciate everyone that sort of that messaged me, and also the people that have just given me space, because I needed it. I couldn't even deal, like obviously I still replied to people, I think. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. But I just needed like me time to focus on me and really figure out what was happening in my own mind and fix it. And Yeah, I don't think, or I hope I never get back to that place again. I guess the lesson learned is to, as soon as I feel like I'm getting in that place or can acknowledge something that is going to eventually get me in that place, is to remove myself as quick as possible for my own sake and sanity and health, and leave it alone. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be taking into 2018 with me. So, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I have constantly been active on Instagram and Snapchat in my break, so if you're not already following me, the details are down below. It's all exactly the same as my YouTube name. But yeah, apart from that, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!